Hey guys, this is Nate from RunDreamAchieve.com. Today's video I wanted to talk on endurance performance and what it's most affected by. Obviously, there's so many different factors that go into excellence when it comes to running, middle to long distance running. There are factors that are out of our control, and there's definitely things that we can do to maximize our efforts. And endurance performance is most affected by our ability to time manage and make sure that we are doing the correct workouts to get the most return on our investment when it comes to our preparation. So, you know, in past videos we talk about making sure that we're over an extended period of time, extending the duration of our tempo runs. So that's one of the most important things in terms of endurance performance and improving your capacity to be able to run for longer periods of time at a higher percentage of your maximum heart rate, and to be able to sustain that and clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. That's why the best distance runners, middle distance runners, they make it look easy because they have trained at such a high level and they've trained their anaerobic threshold for over a long period of time sufficiently enough so that it makes race pace feel more like a moderate effort. So in terms of endurance performance and what it's most affected by, obviously heat, the weather conditions, those are some things that we cannot really control. We can't control if it's windy, we can't control if it's raining, or if it's too cold, or if it's too hot. But it's the things that we're doing when we're not on the track and we're off the roads. What are we doing during those workouts? What are we doing after the workouts? So, you know, on your long runs, if you really want to improve your endurance performance and take your running to the next level, and especially your racing, you have to take in more calories and you have to ingest more fluids during those long runs. So make sure that you're focusing on correcting those mistakes in training first, so that when you get to the race, you don't screw up and you don't fall off pace. And you don't make the mistakes that a lot of runners make, because, including myself, over the years, I would just prepare. I would do my long runs at nice, easy, long, relaxed, easy efforts. But at the same time, I was doing that when I was a 2:43 marathoner, wanting to break 2 hours and 22 minutes. And to go from a 2:43 to under 2:22, you have to make massive changes in your preparation. So I always stress that in terms of endurance performance, and the things that affects it the most is how well you are preparing yourself in training to race at high levels. So you have to get to a point where you're training your lactate threshold and training at that particular effort, and extending the amount of time you're doing those tempo runs. Coupled with a lot of other things. We talk about rest and recovery, all the benefits of the hard work you're doing in training, all those, the track workouts, the tempo runs, the long runs you're doing, all of those benefits come within the rest period. So there's a term I want you guys to all look up. It's called supercompensation. Just to briefly cover what it really is your body is in a weakened state immediately after you do these hard workouts. We all know that. But at the same time, there's physiological changes that occur during the rest period and allows you to adapt from all those hard anaerobic workouts you're doing. So supercompensation basically states that your body's in a weakened state, but in about 48 hours after the workout, your body kind of goes down and then back up, and there's a spike in physiological adaptation that occurs from that hard training effort that you're doing. So supercompensation, and looking that up and reading over that and finding out exactly why the rest period is so critical for your success as a middle to long distance runner is definitely a big recommendation I want to provide to you guys. Definitely study that particular physiological adaptation that occurs, because a lot of athletes, we know how to train hard on the track. We know how to do the tempo runs. We know how to get out and put in the mileage and put in the kilometers. But at the same time, it's the rest period, and obviously, the things that we can control, those are the things we really need to focus on. You can't control what the weather is going to be like, but at the same time, remember this, and I've always focused on this over the years as well. If it's windy, if it's raining, if it's super cold, if it's super hot out, everybody else has to experience it as well. So it's how you handle it in training, and how you prepare yourself prior to getting to the start line that's absolutely essential for your success as a middle to long distance runner. So there's a lot of things that can affect middle, endurance performance. Obviously, overthinking things and worrying about things that are outside of your control is something definitely that will affect performance, in your endurance performance, in your race preparation, as well as your effort in the race. Don't let the little things get the best of you. Focus on the things that you can control and don't worry about the rest. Let your competition, overthink things and worry about who's in the race and what times they've run. And I know this because I experienced, and I did this when I was a younger athlete as well. I'd always focus on, like, even when I was in high school, I was trying to break the 4-minute mile. Never came close. I ended up I started running as a freshman in high school in 1992. I got my first time I ran the mile, ran it down to 5:30, got it down to 5:09 by the end of my freshman year. By the time I graduated, I ran 4:25, and in college I ran a 4:22. So I never had the overall leg speed to break a 4-minute mile, but I was always focused on, like, who ran under 4:30 in my district and who's the best in the state. Looking back, you got to focus on yourself. You got to focus on what are the things that I can do to get the most return on my investment, on my hard training. You can only focus on your efforts and what you can do. Don't focus so much on what the other athletes are doing. Focus on what you can do in preparation so that when you get to the race, you can make those reactions and you can throw in those surges and look back and see if they're reacting to what you're throwing down, and if somebody else makes a move in the race, then you're strong enough to be able to react to those moves and be successful during your race and maintaining that pace and sustaining that effort for the entire duration of the race. That is the key. You don't win a marathon in the first 10 miles. You don't win a marathon in the first 20 miles. It's really, in terms of the marathon distance, for me personally, it's that last 10K. It's the last 6.2 miles of the race. How well you're able to maintain your posture, how well you've took in fluids during the race, how relaxed you can keep your body during the race as well. Relaxation is absolutely critical as well in terms of endurance performance. Again, there's things that will affect endurance performance. Even if you're trying to be relaxed, it's very difficult sometimes when it's like super cold out. Or super hot. For me, I'm a cold weather runner. I've never performed well in the heat unless it was like a 5K distance. Anything really above 10K in the heat for me personally was a no-go. I try to always focus on running marathons and half marathons in colder weather. But there are some athletes out there that can really run phenomenal times in the heat. And I remember in 2007, I ran a horrible race for me personally, 2:51, actually 3 months before I ran 2:19, I ran 2:51 at the Chicago Marathon, and I remember going out the first half in 1:11. So to give you an idea how awful that last half marathon for me was, I was really walking and jogging really from 14 miles all the way to the finish line. But I do remember the top two guys that finished 1-2 in that race ran 2:11 on that particular day. So there's some athletes around the world that can really hold themselves up and that are great hot weather runners. But focus on the strengths that you have in terms of your endurance performance. There are obviously a lot of things that can affect that, but if you're a cold weather runner, then do the very best that you can to stay strong and to make sure you're ingesting enough fluid, resting, focusing on extending the amount of time you're training at your anaerobic threshold, because that is the effort that we race at. Dr. Joe Vigil, one of my mentors, is one of the world's most world-renowned exercise physiologists, also stated this as well, that we race at our lactate threshold or our anaerobic threshold. So it's very, very important to, if you want to become a better middle to long distance runner, spend more time at that anaerobic threshold effort. And there's, like I said in other videos, there's a lot of things that go into performing well over the middle to long distance events. It's not just the physical training, it's also the mental training. It's visualizing on a daily basis over a long period of time what you want to do. You must see it in your mind first. What is it that you're pursuing? Like for me, I was wanting to break 2:22 for the marathon. I knew I had to run 5:25 per mile. So every single day I was visualizing myself getting across the finish line, seeing myself getting across the finish line with 2:21:59 on the clock. your mind is very, very powerful. It's the subconscious mind is extremely powerful, far more powerful than we think. Billy Mills, the 1964 Olympic 10,000 meter gold medalist, said it best. He said the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between reality or imagination. And he was talking about his gold medal race in Mexico City, and he came in with like a 29:50 or 29:45 10,000 meter personal best, and he wasn't really even a factor. Nobody was really focusing so much on him to win the 10,000 meter gold medal. But he continually talked about how visualizing helped him get to a point where he was able to see himself doing that and winning the race. And that's exactly what he did. He ended up running 28:24 on a cinder track at altitude and outperforming Ron Clark of Australia and Mohamed Gamoudi of Tunisia. So these were the top guys, and he was very, very competitive, had a very tough 10K PR, but he was not a factor leading into the race. They were not focusing on him. But if you watch his race on YouTube, you can see just the immense race and the excitement that he had when he finished the race and crossed the finish line. And running 28:24 for 10,000 meters and winning the gold medal was phenomenal. So in terms of, I hope this particular video on endurance performance and what are some of the things that really can affect you has been helpful for you. If you're brand new to the channel, my name is Nate Pennington. I'm the founder of RunDreamAchieve.com. I've been running for about 28 years, two-time Armed Forces World Cross Country Champion, former member of the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program. And what I've done here is basically created content, video content, as well as written content on my blog, RunDreamAchieve.com, for athletes that are trying to make it to the next level in their training. So if you have a specific question, feel free to leave me a comment below in the comment section. I will leave some resources as well below this video in terms of running courses and training programs that I have on RunDreamAchieve.com that are there for you to help you get to the next level in your competitions and in your race preparation. Make sure, like I said, make sure that you make the mistakes in training first. Test yourself physically, test yourself mentally in training first, so that when you get to the race, you know there's nothing that your competition cannot throw at you that you haven't already pushed yourself and put yourself through in training. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. Have a great week of training, and I will talk to you all in the next video.